We're the STEAM Sisters. I'm Sandhya.
And I'm Swapna.
And this is the STEAM League, where we get to learn about the day-to-day careers, aspirations, and origin stories of incredible superheroes in science, technology, engineering, art, and math.
And today we have the great honor of being joined by Justina Sanchez.
Hi, Justina.
Hi.
And so Justina has a background in electrical engineering and is a product safety engineer at Tube Suit America, where she has worked for 16 years.
Wow, and she's a very strong advocate for women in STEAM and is a very active member in the Society of Women Engineers. Welcome to the STEAM League, Justina. It's so exciting to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you girls.
Amazing. So we've come up with a quick game to get started, and we think it'll be certifiably fun.
Oh, by the way, we're going to have a few puns in here.
That was good. I like that.
And this game is the lightning round. We're going to pick some questions out of this here robot.
All right, so your first question, Justina, is what would your STEAM superpower be?
That's a good question. So I would like the ability to travel maybe at lightning speed without, that we could do so much if we could travel faster. I feel like the travel part of it might be a little bit of what holds us up. So I would like to travel.
I love that
speed.
answer there. I mean, 24 hours sometimes doesn't feel like enough in a day. So
No. It's also a perfect answer for a lightning round.
Okay, the next thing that Mr. Robot is, or Miss
Thinking.
Robot is thinking is, oh, what was your favorite subject in elementary or high school?
I really enjoyed PE and I really enjoyed science. So I too.
Love that. Yep. Very much like us too. Here's the robot.
Are you a triplet? Are we triplets?
Possibly, huh?
So your next question, Justina, is who would you share a brunch with from history?
Would I share a brunch with? Wow, that's a great question. So I would really like to sit with Lillian Gilbreth. I'm not sure if you know who she is, but awesome woman who was a mom and a psychiatrist and an engineer, one of the forerunners.
That's amazing. Goodness, she wears lots of different hats. Okay, the next thing that Mr. Robot's thinking is, what's your favorite meal? So what would you eat at that brunch?
Oh, my favorite dessert. I love dessert.
Is there a specific one?
I tend to go for things that are different layers and textures and temperatures. So anything that incorporates like any of that, I enjoy. I'm open to all.
Amazing. I have a major sweet tooth too, so I'll join you for that.
Sweet.
And beautiful. And so your last lightning round question here is, who is your biggest inspiration?
I would say my best friend.
Aww.
She's amazing and just really motivational and determined and business savvy and fun. And
Aw, that is a lovely answer.
She sounds amazing.
she's cool. I enjoy her company.
Now we're going to explore the who, what, where, when, why, and how of Justina Sanchez and her career with some career questions.
Absolutely. So Justina is indeed a superhero in STEAM. And our first question for you is, what does a product safety engineer do and what skills do they need?
We do the safety testing of products before they go to market to ensure that they're safe for consumer use. So anything you use out there that you plug in, we make sure that it's safe. You're not going to get electrocuted. We eliminate any risks out there for the potential user. And I would say a good skill you need is to be curious. Ask questions. That's big because I think that could hold a lot of people back. So don't hesitate there.
That's some important work that you're doing.
Yeah, and a really good example of a skill that you'd need to have. I want to show you an example of maybe what you or your company has been working on, something that you plug in. This is my laptop charger, and I found 3 of the logos are here.
Yeah, that is true. That is something that we would test and certify. Yep.
Amazing. So what are some of the projects that you're working on now?
I am working on a soldering iron. I am working on a medical device sterilizer, a casino gaming machine. So I've got a handful of projects, some little relays. I'm working on some of those, working on some cargo scanners and luggage scanners.
For the airport. That's a whole bunch of different kinds of projects. That's really cool. It sounds like you get to work on a lot of variety.
Yeah, it's really neat. I really enjoy it. We see a lot of cool stuff.
That's really awesome. But what happens when a product doesn't actually meet safety requirements?
So we compile a technical report that outlines all of the deficiencies in the evaluation, and then we'll provide that to the manufacturer. From there, it's up to them to go do the research according to the standard and the compliance criteria to come back to us after they've redesigned or do what they need to do to make it pass.
It sounds like a very collaborative approach that way.
It is. We work really closely with the manufacturers on these.
So you test the safety of a product, and if it doesn't meet safety requirements, the company that made it has to rejig it a little bit and then give it back for safety testing again until it's safe.
That's right. It'll undergo retesting, reevaluation, and all of that to ensure the safety of it.
That sounds like a rigorous process. Know that the products that we have are safe thanks to you and your teams.
Safety first.
Safety first, that's right.
And we're also wondering what might be some of the most interesting or maybe memorable projects that you've ever worked on. What are the products that stick out in your mind?
One of them was a photo booth. That was a lot of fun. Another one that stuck out in my mind is a body scanner from the airport. I learned a lot. We'll just say that I learned a lot in that evaluation.
The photo booth sounds like so much fun. Did you have
Yeah, some of them really are. And the virtual reality headsets, I mean, those, you know, in addition, we have to put them in real world situations. So we do get to use them as a normal end user would. So they're really, it's been a lot of,
That's amazing. That sounds like a really fun job. And a really important one because some of these products really impact our security and our safety. So it's really good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And it sounds like in a lot of the things that we use in our daily lives, we could find, if we look for them, these symbols, such as what you have here on this charger.
Laptop charger, use it every day.
Yep. Yeah, we like to say we're everywhere, yet nowhere. It's one of those things when you're in the industry, you see it all over the place. But when you're not, you're kind of oblivious to those things.
Right, totally.
It's a bit of a Where's Waldo.
Yes, it is a bit of a Where's Waldo. So check out any of your devices and things and see if you can find some product safety labels. So we also wanted to know, how did you get started in product safety testing and what steps did you take?
I started with the company as an entry-level admin, and I was the support for the engineers, and I really thought they had a cool job. So after a couple of years of being the support, I asked my boss a brief but life-changing question on how to become an engineer. So he was like, to be considered, you'll need a degree in electronic engineering, electrical engineering. And I said, okay. I literally Googled schools. I found a technical school in our area that a couple of our engineers had attended, and I enrolled. And then upon completion, he allowed me to be our technician. So that was my first engineering type role within the company. And from there, I've just kind of been climbing since.
That's amazing.
That is incredible. What a story. That is really, really cool. And you decided that you wanted to become an engineer. You went to school for it, and that was while you were working?
That was while I was working. Yep. I did school in the evenings, work during the day. I really am thankful that I have a bunch of really smart colleagues I work with that were able to help me with any questions I had, you know, and it's really great. I'm thankful.
Sounds like you had a really great supportive team around you too. That's really cool.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I still work with a lot of them too, which is amazing.
Oh, that is amazing.
Sounds like a wonderful community. And it sounds like it might have been a really great experience to be at school, but also have that real world application at work at the very same time. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm really fortunate because not everybody has that. So many of the students that I were in school with, they were going in hopes of building a career or stepping into a career in that field after, where I had the opportunity to work firsthand already in there. So when they knew I was going to school, they'd put me in the lab and to just shadow some of the engineers. And I was familiar with the lab and processes and could get my hands on things, which was great.
That's amazing.
So you got some practical experience too as you were doing the...
Sure did. Yep.
Cool. That's amazing. And where do you think this will take you in the future?
I am hoping eventually to step into management. I really love engineering, and I I love the testing side of it, but I also feel like I have great leadership skills. And so being able to utilize those one day, I'm not in any rush because I absolutely love being in the lab and hands-on and testing. That's one of my favorite parts of the job, but one day.
It does sound a lot of fun, and I hope you're able to find something where you can combine both of those sides together.
Right? Me too.
All right, so now we're going to take a quick pause to play a quick game. This is a game where we have found some Instagram photos of yours, Justina, and we're going to ask you to explain that photo. We're really amped for your answers. Okay, so the first photo is this one. Do you remember this, and what is happening here?
Yes. So I recently made a video on product safety to outline at a high level the process and evaluation of what a product goes through. So what I was doing there was flame testing. Any of your products, like your charger there, inside have these boards that are printed wiring boards. So we need to ensure they have proper flammability ratings. And if they don't, we have the ability to give them to them. So that picture there is I was setting up for a flame test.
Cool. Beans, that's really awesome.
Yeah, you do some amazing work, and it sounds like you're on fire.
Good one.
And thank you for making my laptop charger safe.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
And so we've got another photo for you here. Can you tell us what you're doing in this photo?
Yes, I was at the fair. I was at the fair there, and I had just come from work, and I was really excited because we were in line to get some yummy treats. And at the register, I found our logo, and so I took an opportunity to take a photo with the logo at the fair.
That is amazing.
It really brings us back to the idea that you can see it everywhere, but if you're not looking for it, you might not find it.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
safety is important in so many different aspects of our lives, and that is another way you can look at it. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun that you found that at the fair. I hope you got some sweet treat.
I sure did.
So next we want to ask you, can you tell us about one time that you experienced a failure, and what did it teach you?
So there was one time where I experienced a failure. One of the most common tests we'll do is apply power to a product while we remove the ground, just in the event that it loses that earth connection and power is going through it. We test all conductive points, all metal points, to ensure that the leakage current that comes off of there is within, is not going to shock somebody. And one time I got shocked, and it hurts, and the manufacturer did have to go back and redesign. It was an accident on my part. It was a huge unit, and I kind of bumped up against it when the ground was removed while I was trying to maneuver my test equipment and get around it to measure the points. And it was a good learning experience, definitely. And you know, they ended up redesigning and making it much safer. The values were reduced and it was able to pass. But for me, you know, you felt that one.
Literally.
Oh dear, indeed. And for anyone who hasn't heard about what a ground is, could you explain that real quick, please?
The ground ensures the safety. So it ensures that all of the current that's going to run through is grounded and nothing. So if I touch something, I'm not sure what we can see, but if I touch something, essentially, if it's grounded, I won't get shocked. If there is no ground to it, that means it's an open, and it's the current running through there has nowhere to go. So that means you touch it, it's going to go through to you.
And that's what happened to you. Oh, dear.
That's what happened. Yeah. You want to make sure that that current coming off of there, that leakage current, is absolutely at a certain value where each standard defines the requirements, but we need to ensure that it's within or below the requirement so you don't feel that.
Again, safety first.
Right?
So you've had a really incredible career so far, and we're wondering if you can share a moment or maybe an achievement that has meant the most to you so far.
The last couple of years have been really incredible at our company, and they are opportunities that I had been given to be mentored. We have an international women's network based out of our Munich office. And at the time, the gal that headed up was in Singapore. I was selected to be a mentee to a CEO mentor. And that experience was so valuable for me. He just saw something in me that I didn't. But from that experience, I also was able to establish a women's network within the Americas. And so we now have this America's Women's Network, and it has become just such a valuable part of the company and allowing women the opportunity to grow and network, provide trainings, provide a safe community for women. And really, we have these cross-divisional, cross-functional relationships that have been established, which has been great. And I did receive an award for that, for championing that. Thank you.
That is amazing, and that's very worthwhile work, I think, and it kind of speaks to the title that's on your screen now too, Empowered Women Empower Women.
That's really describing you there, and it's a really beautiful story that you had the opportunity to be mentored, and now you're paying that forward by creating these opportunities for other women across the Americas. So that's really, really commendable.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really big on whatever's given to me and opportunities or whatever I have, turning that around and creating more for other people. It's not just to end with me, you know. I'm just simply, it goes through, I learn, I get the experience and share that with others.
Sharing is caring.
It's fantastic. So we are not shocked to, unlike you, to hear about the incredible success that you had so far. And now we'd like to hear a little bit more by switching gears and learning a bit about the tools that you use perhaps through our show and tell.
So this is a sharp edge tester. And what it is when you have a product that comes in, we rub this along it on the edges, and we have to apply pressure. You see it's on a spring, and it has what looks like a little bit of a Band-Aid around it. And if we run it along the edge and it cuts this in any way, we know it's too sharp, and the manufacturers have to go back and smooth it out, because that could potentially cause a hazard for somebody in the future.
Oh, wow. How do you know how much force to apply?
Because there's a spring in there. So this one itself is already kind of pre-programmed, so you just use it to the full extent there. But most standards will give the detail as far as all of the specifications for every test. So this certain one is for a specific standard. And so that is just one of the pieces of equipment that I have. And then another one I have is, it's a finger probe. So what this is it is a mock finger. And if there's a product that has holes in it, right? If it has holes or gaps of any kind in the enclosure, we need to stick the finger probe in there to ensure that you can't touch any of the live electronic components. So if somebody tried to get their finger in a hole, then this will give us our pass-fail. If we can touch the electronic components in there, it's a failure. They need to close the gaps that are within that.
That is so cool
That's
to see the
incredible.
sort of things that you could test for. I had never thought of that.
No,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of fun pieces of equipment.
it really does look like that. That one sounds like it's a really handy tool.
Right? It is.
And you have one more tool to share with us.
Yep. So the last one we have here is a force gauge. So what that does is, depending on the standard, we'll apply 10 newtons, maybe 50 newtons, 100, 250 newtons to the enclosure. And we'll apply that in areas that we feel could be sensitive. So we go right in for the areas that could potentially cause a hazard if the enclosure were damaged, such as over the power supply. Because that is the heart of most units, we'll go in and apply a certain amount of pressure to it. So in the event that something fell on it, or somebody stepped on it, or something bumped it, we just need to ensure that enclosure is not going to break or crack or have deformation in any way, so that the end user would be able to touch the power supply and the high voltage that goes through that area of the product.
Amazing.
Wow. Oh, nice.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. That's super
You're welcome.
tasty. And it sounds like you are able to combine a lot of fun with the safety side of things in your job, which is amazing.
It is. That's why I really enjoy it. We get to have fun along the way. You learn a lot, definitely, over the years, but there's a lot of fun that's had in the safety lab.
That's so awesome. I love seeing that.
And it's wonderful to hear you have a lot of fun, but it also sounds like a pretty involved job. So how do you de-stress?
That's a good question. I like to go get massages. I like to enjoy a nice meal out with good company. I like to take my daughter out and about. We live in San Diego. It's a great place to go We can be at the beach or the mountains within 20 minutes of pretty much anywhere in the city. So just getting out, getting fresh air, going for walks with her, taking her to the park, to the beach, wherever.
Aw, that's so sweet. So our next question is, what's one piece of advice that you'd give to someone interested in your field? Because it sounds like a very interesting field.
I would say to ask a lot of questions, be curious, and if you know anyone in the industry, ask if you can shadow them. You know, I mentor a handful of girls and have brought them through our lab to show them what we have, bring them in to show a process from beginning to end and see if that's something potentially that they could see themselves doing or they want to do. Let them ask questions, open up an opportunity for them to get in there and be curious.
Yeah, that's really great. You never know the opportunities you can get or what you can learn until you ask.
That's right.
And it's a really great way also to kind of see what's happening in the job as you're learning about it and kind of gain some of those skills. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying, you were able to see what was going on in lab and shadow people in the lab as you were learning, which sounds like a fantastic way to do it.
It absolutely was. And, you know, our team is really great. And I know there's a lot of other people out there like that who are more than willing to ask and answer any questions that you do have. So don't hesitate. Don't hesitate if you have any questions. And if you want to get in, ask them, can I shadow you? Can I come see what it's like? Maybe can you take me on a tour? And I bet they're more than willing to do so for you.
It's
Absolutely. Yes. And it also helps build your network, which is so important for careers too.
Absolutely.
And I think now we have just enough time for a couple of questions from the audience for our Audience Asks segment. So I'm going to grab the Audience Asks box. So here it is. And inside we've got 3 questions from the audience.
All right. So first question from the audience, Azan asks, what kind of schooling do you have to do to get to your career?
My background is electrical engineering. However, that's not the only kind. Mechanical is also another great one. Any type of engineering background, I would say, would probably get you in the door because you have those critical thinking skills, you have some experience, and a lot of it is learned on the job. What we do, it's such a tight niche that you learn on the job. So any engineering would be a good start.
Great. Okay, so your next Audience Asks question is, Zuhor asks, what is something that you do that you didn't expect to be doing in your job? Good question.
So we get to all of the manufacturers that we provide evaluation and they get approved for market. We also then have to go to their production facilities to ensure that what they're building is safe. So there is an aspect of travel that comes with the job. We go to all these different production facilities to ensure that what we have tested and certified is in fact what they're building to ensure the safety of it as they move forward. So that's another part that came as a nice surprise, I'd say, to the job. I enjoy traveling and getting out. So it's good to mix it up.
That is really awesome. And that gives you the chance, I'm guessing, to, see and experience things that perhaps you never expected to.
That's right. Yeah. Some of these production facilities are amazing. Amazing, the places we get to go into.
And our last audience question is from Taya. And Taya asks, what's the toughest part of your job?
So the toughest part would be we do everything according to a standard and that no 2 devices are the same. So you could have applied a standard to a product and the next time you're using that standard for a product, you're using an entirely different part of it. So it's always learning, always growing, and the technical side of it is what can be, according to the verbiage in the standards, is what can be a little bit tricky. And so what one person interprets may not be what somebody else does. So it's important we collaborate as a team and we come together and get all different points of views to really ensure that the point is being met there. So it's always continuous learning. If you're one who likes to learn and grow all the time, it's great, which I am, and I'm thankful, but it can be challenging at that part.
Always good to know.
Yeah, and sounds tough, but fun all at the same time.
It is.
Awesome. So with that, thank you so much for joining us on the STEAM League. And you can check out even more STEAM superheroes by checking out our YouTube channel or steamsisters.ca.
And our little robot friend agrees. Justina, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. You ladies are great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.